Welcome to Intuitive Seek. My name is Mary Treen. I aim to bring you a grounded approach to all things intuition. Through personal stories, experiences, and practices, offering energetic reflections to help you discover, connect, and fully realize how your unique power of intuition is your own greatest teacher. Hello, welcome everyone. Welcome to July 2024. How are you doing? How were the final days of June for you? I know that for me, the last energy impressions for the end of June that I recorded for you, I know they really rang true for me. That last week of June was quite introspective to really connect with all of the changes that I have experienced this year. All of the things that I've really released, and quite a bit figuratively, not so much literally, but all of the things that were really in the way of having the clarity for what I really want to do. And I'm sharing that because from everyone that I've been connecting with as well, they had a similar experience. So if you have found that these first 2 days of July have really brought you to a new space, that you felt like there is a shift, something has happened, you are in a new time, not only a new month, but you feel like you're in a new time, you are not alone. And as I shared in the last episode, I got super sick and could not do anything for about 2 weeks. And I learned a lot about my energy. And even though I am feeling so much better and recovered, I still have to really pay attention to how much energy I have. And part of that for June was staying off of Instagram. And I'm not a huge person that posts on Instagram, but I usually would like to kind of post in the stories daily. But for June, I felt like I needed a reset to come back in July and focus on when I really have something to share instead of sharing just for the sake of sharing. Because I love focusing my energy on the spaces that give me the most joy. And that is in my one-on-one work, that is in my groups and my workshops that I am so lucky that I get to do, and definitely my live meditation and events on Insight Timer. And then I am focusing more on the YouTube that I'm building as well. So I'm sharing all of that too, to say that if you have been feeling like shifting your focus as well on where you put your energy and your time, that it may be time to do that. Especially now that we're in beginning the last half of this year. And I know everywhere you're seeing, I can't believe it's July. Every email you're getting, I can't believe it's July, but it's true. It's so true. But at the same time, when I think back to the beginning of the year, yeah, I can believe it because so much has happened, so much has changed. And yeah, even though there was a lot of challenging moments that are not done, I feel like any of the storms that are coming, because of life, right? I feel much more grounded and anchored and prepared for them. And so that really goes to show how much I have learned, but also how much we have learned this year through all of the difficulty and the challenges, but also all of the amazing things, even though there have been some really awful things. there have also been so many unexpected blessings. And I know that I'm not alone in that. So I just wanted to share a bit about, how I was feeling going into July. Because it really feels like this July and August, really the next 2 months, they may be very different than summers in the past for us in the Northern Hemisphere and the winters in the past for those in the South. It's going to be different. It really feels that way. And with these energy impressions, as a reminder for anyone who may have not heard them before, welcome, and welcome back to everyone who has. These energy impressions are really meant to help you remember what your intuition is wanting you to know, to offer you more clarity and guidance and direction for the month ahead so that you can take time for whatever resonates for you. Take time and move into more inner discovery. So with everything I share, it's really meant to help you connect to yourself, to your inner guidance, to your clarity, to your wisdom. So really trust what you need, trust what resonates, and leave the rest. It may not all resonate, but trust when it feels true for you, that this is how you were meant to remember or focus on it. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining me. I love offering these insights because I feel like it's really important at the beginning of each month to gain some clarity, to look for your intentions. And I like to go into a nice meditation before and really feel with all of my senses what we may need to know about the month ahead. In July, as I was feeling at the end of June, July is really dynamic. It feels like a shift. It feels like new energy, new doors, new windows are opening up. New spaces that we didn't have the ability to see before. Things were clouded. We were experiencing a lot, going through so many shifts and changes, especially in who we think we are. So beginning with July energy impressions, I felt guided to our solar plexus again. And this was not a surprise because we did have that at the end of June. And yes, and that makes sense because we're not done. We're not done caring for our solar plexus ever. But this month, focusing and caring and really connecting in new ways to the energy of our solar plexus is going to be a big help to keep connecting to that beautiful inner sun that we all carry, to that inner power, to our light that really shines, that helps us see the steps in front of us, helps light up the directions that we want to take. That light of ours in our solar plexus, that's what's opening those windows and doors that are waiting for us to step through in this month. But many of us carry a lot of fear and anxiety and discomfort and unease in this part of our bodies, in this part of our energy. And that can also show up as digestive issues in many different physical ways. So in July, it may be really helpful to create a practice where maybe for 2 to 5 minutes, you put your hands, a few inches above your navel, and you just feel your energy. Feel this part of your body and see what you receive. Maybe you'll receive some deep clarity. Maybe the fear that you're feeling is actually a guide to show you that your energy, your spirit, your soul may be done waiting to take. So there may be a more visceral buildup of fear and doubt in this area of your body because it wants your attention, because something amazing could happen this month. But it's up to us to take that action, the inspired action. And so often, when it's something that we really need to do, to step into our power and our path of purpose and all of the things, that fear and doubt can block us, become a hurdle for us. But if we shift our perspective, it can also guide us towards it. I've shared before the phrase that, your biggest dreams, your dreams realized, are on the other side of your fears. And I can't remember who said that first, and it wasn't verbatim, but that is the energy I'm speaking about. That if you have felt a bit confused or uncertain or really kind of shaken up by June, get back in touch with your solar plexus. And I also have that Reiki healing meditation on this podcast feed or on my Insight Timer. And there's a system of Reiki where I'm able to hold it in the recording. And you can really take care of that part of your body. And of course, you can also work directly with me and we can focus on that too. But there's so many resources for you to care for your deep, deep inner sun, for the energy, that life force of expression that we all carry. And in July, we need it. We need it more than ever. Because another piece that really was in the guidance from the meditation was about trusting our vulnerability, connecting to our authentic truth, taking off our masks, shedding the veils, that thing that so many of us put between us and the world, because it makes us uncomfortable to shine who we really are. And we can also shine for others in ways that benefit them, but do not benefit us. And to really come into integrity, connected, empowered to your authentic, unique self, it's finding that shine that benefits you and the world around you. But it also felt like in July that many of us have got caught up, become quite caught up in other people's rhythm, other people's worlds, the pace of everyone else around us. And perhaps even the pace of who we used to be, who we were before all of the changes, before this year. And it feels like some of us are really comparing our timing and our rhythm and our pace to everyone else. And that connects to reaching for and holding on to the expectations of others. And so in July, that's why it connects so deeply to our solar plexus, because we can feel incredibly empowered by connecting to our inner sun, that beautiful amount of energy that we hold. But we can also feel incredibly disempowered when we stop trusting what we really feel we are meant to be expressing, when we stop trusting our inspiration, when we start looking to everything around us for validation and evidence. And that's why it's so important to connect to the fear and doubt that is kind of keeping your sun from shining. When we stop trusting what we really feel we are meant to be expressing, when we stop trusting our inspiration, when we start looking to everything around us for validation and evidence. And that's why it's so important to connect to the fear and doubt that is kind of keeping your sun from shining. Because it really feels like July is so creative. And that creativity is going to be sparked in ways that maybe you have not experienced it in a long time. But you need to trust that you have the ability. And there may be a creative project, a expression, a way that you use your voice, something that you really need to finish, that you need to focus on, something that you may have been sitting on and waiting for the right time. This is the time. That's what it feels like. This is the time. So what is that thing? What do you need to finish? What is waiting for you, waiting for all of that beautiful light to bring it fully realized and to life? And that comes back to the vulnerability that you may be working through in July. Because when we express what is authentic to us, when we're ready to share, finish and share something that is important to us, it can feel awful. It can feel uncomfortable. It can bring up all of the things that are in the way of that expression. So that is another piece of July, is bringing your vulnerability with you. Allowing your vulnerability to also shine and show you where you are meant to go. So in July, you may have many, many, many opportunities, invitations to speak and share authentically, to be honest, to be fully honest, to really open up to your power so you can see the clarity of your direction, taking off whatever is in the way of being so honest and authentic and open and yourself. And that is a space where you need to feel more comfortable, maybe not all the way, but comfortable enough with feeling vulnerable, feeling seen, that you're not holding yourself back and dimming your light anymore. So you can allow yourself to really express who you are now, and maybe who you've always been, but now it's time to really show up as that person, as you, to express what you want to share, what you want to create. So you can feel grounded and clear and yourself. Because then anything you choose, anything you decide, anything you do this month, whether it's a yes or a no, then you at least can trust that it's the right decision because you're being honest and authentic and yourself. And it feels like that's where we need to be to really take advantage of all of the new directions and new invitations and open windows and doors. We're stepping into our power and shining our light and all of the things you've heard over and over again, that you actually get to realize that this month in a new way where you get to embody it. And because you are so much more yourself and honest and open, not allowing your fear and doubt to get in the way of the invitations, trusting your own wisdom and your authentic heart and your beautiful, bright, shining power. Well, that's when you become a magnet for everything that is meant for you, That's when you get to release any attachment to wondering how it's all going to happen. July can be quite a turning point for us if we're brave enough to open up as ourselves now to the new and trusting our wisdom and inspiration, using our voice, feeling so secure in yourself because you know that you are speaking the truth, that you are being true to yourself. So you feel at home and comfortable in any unknown space, which is always going to be there as you move into the next and the next and the next and realize more and more it's going to be new and it's going to be unknown. But if you take care of your solar plexus, you take care of your energy, you remember how your heart speaks, that your solar plexus shines and lights up your heart too, then your light is shining and remembering that all of the changes in all of the new directions, that you are always home because you get to land within yourself, that your light is always there to anchor into and is always there to help anyone else around you that needs some guidance on their path too, that needs a bit of inspiration to be themselves too, to be honest with themselves as well. And another big part of this for July, and I learned this in June, but it really felt like the message for July too, that with all of this new expression of our authentic, honest, vulnerable, beautiful inner power, we need to rest often. We need to take care of ourselves. We need to really pay attention to when we need to be taken care of, when we need to turn off to turn back on again. Because with all the shifts and changes, with all the new expression, moving with our fear and our doubt and connecting to that wealth of beautiful power that we hold and expressing it, we're going to need to rest as well, because that's a lot of expansion. In July and also August, but definitely July, feels like a time of opening up, as we've been talking about. But to make that sustainable and healthy for you and for everyone around you in your life, make sure that you also schedule in that time for rest, and not just once a week, but trust yourself and try your best not to judge it, because rest is so important if you want to finish and realize and do all the things that are available to us this month. So can you make a commitment to yourself to rest? I hope you can. I know you can. I know many of us have already discovered how important resting is, and that it's a big part of working with our energy and our intuition. But we always need the reminder. And before I get into the animal for July, which I love sharing because the animals that we connect with for each month really give us so much inspiration and help us remember so much more that we need to know. But before I get into that, I wanted to clarify about the things that you may have been working on, that you've wanted to finish. So what have you started? What is something that you've been wanting to communicate? Something that you've been wanting to share with the world that you haven't finished yet? Because in July, it's time to get close to finishing. And maybe it's even time to finish. Because whatever that is, that song of yours that is ready to be sung and heard, it won't go away. And it won't get easier. There will be no perfect time. And for those of you listening where this resonates, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know exactly what project, what thing. So this is your extra reminder for July to honor yourself, honor your inspiration, and commit to it. To commit to your light being shared, to honor your creative spirit. It's a gift. And it's not just a gift for you, it's a gift for others. And by caring for and working with and on your solar plexus, that's where you can feel more clear about trusting yourself enough to finish it and not getting wrapped up in all the new inspirations that may be coming, because there's a lot of that happening in July, but committing to the thing that's ready to be finished. So do it in July. July is for it. But don't forget to rest in between and see how much can happen and be realized this month by focusing your attention and trusting your inner power and trusting your light and respecting your inspiration enough to commit to it and finish. And then share it, because we're all waiting. And the animal that is really carrying the energy for July is the goldfinch. This beautiful little yellow-breasted bird with the gorgeous song. What better way to emphasize that solar plexus power for July than this joyful bird who sings their song and shines their light and is just so brilliant. And they have such a beautiful symbolism with creativity and joy and luck and potential and being bold, but also very solution oriented and having that perseverance and having real trust in what they can do. The nests that they build are so resilient. They are woven in a way unlike other birds, that they're built so well that they can survive through the most intense rainstorms. They will always have a home. Very rarely do their nests get knocked away. So that was very inspiring to me, because it feels like that was everything, all of that resilience has been kind of uncovered and rediscovered and remembered through the year. And now it's time to set the power and strength into everything that we do in July. The goldfinch can really help us remember not to limit ourselves, to connect to that joy and inspiration and commit to staying open and positive and in that motivation to express ourselves in the ways that we know we need to. The one fact that I really appreciated and was quite inspired by too for the goldfinch was it's sometimes referred to as a wild canary. And canaries are often pets, right? Kept in cages. So the goldfinch felt like a beautiful symbol for July of getting out of that cage, of not being our full selves, of feeling the freedom that comes with being honest and vulnerable and true and expressing ourselves and sharing our light and our power and our creativity in all the ways we feel inspired to, regardless of how it will be received. to recognize what cage you might have put yourself in through other people's expectations, to break out of the restrictions that are not yours, that are not in the way when you're able to connect to your own inner power, to that clarity and wisdom and truth, to everything that helps you soar. And another piece with the goldfinch is that it is the latest breeding of all the songbirds. They really wait to nest until mid to late summer. And this felt like a really lovely symbol to remind us to trust our rhythm, that if whatever we are wanting to do, anything we feel inspired to do in July, everything that once we really let our light shine and our masks fall and allow ourselves to just be, that we're right on time. That the timing may be later than we had wanted it to be. But to really trust the timing. So as always, but especially for July, learning and remembering all the ways that we can really trust ourselves is so important. And the goldfinch is helping us remember that, to really follow our joy and to not give up and to stay as open as all the new doors and new windows that we will find this month are going to be. So I hope you are looking forward to this month as much as I am. And let's dive into a few intuitive questions, soul inquiries, ways for you to really connect even deeper to what you need to know for July. And you can answer these as a journal prompt. You can answer them in a voice note to yourself or just something to ponder as you're going for a walk. But the first question could be, what vulnerable, authentic part of yourself, of your unique light, is still being hidden? How can you release your mask? How can you be more honest and true to yourself? And then the second question could be describing a fear and describing doubt that is keeping you hidden. And get really curious and describe them. Describe them as deeply and vividly as possible. And can you find the medicine for those fears and doubts within all of the ways that you connect to it? Because often you can find what that fear and doubt is asking of you when you finally listen. And then a third question to kind of think about, write about, or answer in a voice note could be connecting to the goldfinch and how the goldfinch was helping us remember not to limit ourselves. So listing 3 ways that you have limited yourself this year. Really think about in detail and describe 3 ways that you've limited yourself. And then what can you do in July to step out of those limits, to break them down and step over them and walk through them and all the other ways of saying it? How can you break through all of those limits that you may have placed on yourself this year? And then number 4, what is ready to be expressed from your truest self? If you followed the joy that you carry within, trusted that inner light to show you what is meant to shine this month from your truest, most authentic, and vulnerable self. What is ready to be finished? Well, thank you so much for listening to this episode of Intuitive Seek. I hope that these energy impressions for the month of July have helped reignite some clarity and direction and connection to your own intuitive knowing. And I'd love to hear if you resonated with the energy that I'm feeling and moving through for the month. And of course, if you have any questions or thoughts, please don't hesitate to send me a message. You can send me a message through my website, treenlight.com, or through my Instagram, treenlight.healing. All of the show notes will have the links there. And if you're curious about how I can support you, I offer one-on-one sessions and distance healing remote sessions as well. And it's easy to book through my website in the links that I'll leave in the show notes. And you'll also find a link to sign up for my newsletter. And if you haven't already, I would love for you to join. And hugely appreciate it if you subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and follow. And if you feel called to give some support, then please share this episode with a friend, or you could leave a review. So thank you again so much. Be kind to yourself, and I'll talk to you soon.
Hi, Auntie Mary. I just wanted to say something very, very meaningful.